Good afternoon, everyone. Peace be upon all the viewers of this video. This is Dr. Nadeem Merchant, Assistant Professor at Alana Institute of Management Studies. And in today's video, I am going to explain using one simple slide prepared by me the dynamic nature of a balance sheet. This is going to be helpful for all the students of management studies uh, who have uh, who have who have undergone the topic of financial management, costing and management accounting, and other financial subjects. But these subjects are all financial management specifically is a general subject which every management student is supposed to uh, learn, and whatever be his or her specialization. And at the end of financial management, and also related to costing, because we have the concept of cost of capital over here, the student has to understand this concept. And I don't think this concept has been explained in the way I am going to explain anywhere. At least I don't know. So just stay tuned in, and you will understand a lot many things. Just give me your valuable attention. So there are three objectives that I want you all to understand. One is the the balance sheet over a company's life cycle. So here I have kind of drawn the life cycle of a company. Okay, from the initial stage, then right through the growth stage, and then till the maturity stage. Although we teach you all subjects in different kind of with different names, marketing, finance, and IT and operations and production, right? But at the core of all these subjects is a business entity. So it is the same dimensions or different dimensions of the same business entity. Okay? And everything gets activated once you step into a real life organization. So it is not that you know Monday will be a marketing activity and Tuesday will be finance activity. Okay. So a student of management has to understand, has to understand the holistic nature of a company's activity. At the very outset, a company is established for earning profits. And while establishing a company, there are investments. Okay, so you start with investments, and these investments are reflected in the balance sheet. So here we have 100 crore company. Okay, so this is 100 crore company in the initial stage, right? And so starting from 100 crores, okay, uh, it becomes say 160 crore. Okay, now this I am talking about uh, a middle, a mid-sized company. Okay, not a small company, not a very big company. And the time interval what we are talking about is say 1 to 3 years. Okay, so within 1 to 3 years, or maybe in some cases it may be 4 or 5 years, this company reaches and the balance sheet becomes worth 160 crores. Okay, and it reaches the growth stage. So the balance sheet of a company, this is the first thing. We have to understand the dynamic nature of a company's balance sheet figures. The second is cost of capital, the prudential model, and the third is limitations of ratio analysis. So coming back to the first objective, now this balance sheet, okay, uh, a related, at the same time you need to understand, see why there are three time intervals, 1 to 5 years, 1 to 10 years. So big companies, say with a balance sheet of 1,000 crore plus, right? They take 1 to 10 years for reaching from the initial stage to the growth stage. Okay, so this is 1 to 10. So this cycle becomes 10 years for this company. Okay, so when such a large company over a period of 10 years, say 1,000 crore to 1,300 crore or 1,900 crore or maybe even 2,000 crore, right? Now this company, it completes the next cycle, okay, from growth to maturity over a period of another 20 years. That is 10 to 30 years. So this is what is meant by time interval. So the time interval is different for different size companies. Okay, for small companies, this time interval is 1 to 3 years, and then the next interval for is 3 to 10 years for the same company. Okay, if the company is a bit on the larger, say 800 crores, so this time interval becomes 1 to 5 years or maybe even 1 to 10 years, 1 to 7 years, 8 years, whatever. And then from the growth till the maturity stage, it takes another uh, you know 10 years. Okay, and for a large company, as I said, the initial stage itself is for 10 years, and accordingly the companies, they have to keep their cost of capital in mind. Okay, so what is cost of capital? Cost of capital, as we already know, we have three broad forms of capital. One is the equity capital, which does not have a fixed charge. Then we have the uh, long-term borrowings, debenture or debt capital, which has a fixed charge. And then we have short-term capital, normally used for current liabilities, okay, which also has a fixed charge and which is normally paid off every year. Even the interest on the debt capital has to be paid every year. Otherwise, the debenture holders are going to acquire your company. So these three types of capital: equity, debt, and short-term debt or current liability. Okay, this is on your asset side. Okay, this is on your asset side. Now, what do you mean by the prudential model? Okay, the prudential model says keep your cost of capital low. Okay, in the initial years. Cost of capital low means the equity people, they shouldn't expect returns, okay, more than 3%, because the company is in its initial years. So maximum return should not be more than 3%. Okay, should be less than 3% for the equity capital. The cost of debt also should be low, right? And the current liabilities, the working capital charges should also be low. This is what we mean by prudential cost of capital. Okay, so this is prudential cost of capital. And now why is it so? Because the initial years are fraught with risk. Okay, whether the company will grow or whether it will go down. Okay, instead of growing, this curve will go down. So the initial years of every company is fraught with risk, right? uh, so during the risk stage, so the risk is high, so we say the risk is high, okay, during this stage. Now if and this is business risk, okay, whether the business will pick up, sales will pick up, expenses will not grow disproportionately. So this stage is the high risk stage. I will color this in a different color. Okay. So this stage is the high risk stage. Okay. The risk is high. So we should not couple the business risk with the finance risk by 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 having a cost of by having a financial structure or a capital structure which has got which has got high cost of capital. So this is what we mean by prudential cost of capital. And the equity people also keep should keep their expectations low. No company makes a profit right from day one. Maybe there is a gestation period, and then you start making profit. You start making profit in these years now. Okay. So now, once your cost of capital is prudential, right? So what happens is that once your cost of capital is prudential, then what happens is that you start showing profits. Okay. So let me use the blue color for profits. And during this, you start showing profit, but you don't distribute the profit. Here also the equity people, they have to be patient, right? The debenture holders, they will be given their due. Of course, uh, they are not expecting any. They cannot wait. You see, their the nature of their capital is such they want returns every year. But the equity capital, instead of starting pocketing the dividends, it is advisable for them to start making reinvestments, okay, during this period. So this is what the arrow tells us, that during this period reinvestments have to be made. These reinvestments, they start showing returns here. Okay. So if it is a 1 to 5 year company, maybe that second, third, and fourth year, okay, reinvestments are made. Okay, and then seventh, eighth, and ninth year, these reinvestments, they start showing returns. Okay, they start showing magnified returns. We can say. So these returns are magnified. Okay, तो ये फल खाने का जमाना है. ये आपने बड़ा बीज बो दिया, लेकिन बीज बोने के बाद यहाँ पर पानी देना है और वो पानी देते रहना है, फिर यहाँ पर बैठ के फल खाना है. So you cannot start picking up the fruits in the initial years. Okay, this is what is meant by prudential model. So going further, once in the growth stage, if you require more capital, 95% of the time, remember this, 95% of the time, okay, when things are all good, the equity people, they are going to, they have already reinvested and they know the future is good, so they are going to pour in more capital. You don't have to rely on the market, okay, even during the growth stage. But during the growth stage, you require a lot of capital. So here the equity capital also goes up, okay, and the overall cost of capital goes up. So the equity people, they start raising their expectations from 3%, from 3% to 8%, okay, from 3%. So here it is 3%, less than 3%, okay, and here it is 8%. So once the company has entered the growth stage, the equity people, they start raising their expectations. Okay, and here a proper reinvestment and a proper use of retained earnings will give flying colors. And then during the maturity stage, it is the equity people expecting 18%, even 25%, even 80%. for a mature year is where they milk the cow. Okay, so this is what is meant by a prudential model. Now, what is the imprudential or unprudential model? Unprudential model is that you start with a high cost of capital. So your overall cost of capital, also known as weighted average cost of capital, is high in the very beginning, where the debt is the debt is constant. So this is the fixed cost, the finance fixed cost, and the company is volatile. The sales are volatile. So when the sales are volatile, this part, when the sales are high, so you are able to cover your fixed cost. But during these times, okay, when the sales are below and the cost is still there, let me show you the cost. Okay, so this is this is the cost, right? And your sales are below, so this is a danger zone. So if you start with a high cost of capital, right, you will not you will not get enough money for reinvestment. Okay, because and then when you don't get enough money for reinvestments, right, this stage during this stage you will not be having much capital left. Okay, and because of the subdued nature of people, the you will have to approach the you will have to approach, and here in this case, it becomes reverse. 95% of the people, they shirk from giving more money because the cost of capital is high. They don't want to invest. They don't want to invest because in the very beginning your cost of capital was high. Okay, so this is an imprudential nature of cost of capital. This is what I want to explain. Now, this is not the same for every company. Of course, the company's performance matters and the scale matters. Okay. So I hope I have been clear in my explanation. This is what you need to understand. Now, coming to the third one, okay, limitations of ratio analysis. Normally, we we try to rely on ratios, right? And of course, ROI of 8%, okay, or say 15% or 20%, right, is something to be proud of, right? And then we very conveniently we try to compare it with companies. Okay, so in ratios there are three broad approaches. One is looking at the company's performance in the light of its own performance, own previous performance. Okay, so this is the first approach to ratio analysis, that historical ratios. Okay, you look at the history of this company, right? Now this is a broad, you know so history of the company, historical performance, you can say history of performance. Now history of performance can be looked at using any of the indicators. As I have told you all in the class, we have approximately 300 and different types of ratios, okay, or metrics or indicators, you can say, to understand the performance of a company. Okay, so any metric you can pick up, and then you can look at the history of that metric. Say if this is 2020, so what was the ratio, say ROTA. Okay, so you look at ROTA, okay, 2015 onwards, okay, all the way till 2020. So you are comparing your own performance. So ROT is going up, it is good. It is going down, it is something which is to be worried of. Okay. So this is say ROT. Any indicator which you feel. Now this approach is okay provided we don't keep our eyes closed. Okay. Uh, because there is something known as the market or the sector performance. Okay. How has the sector performed? Now this is very important. Okay. Suppose the sector as a whole. Suppose I am a pharmaceutical company. So the pharma sector. Now suppose during these years only, the pharma sector has gone something like this. Okay. The overall sector has gone up. Okay. So the overall pharma sector has ended up with a good note. Okay. So if you don't compare your performance with the sectoral performance, you will feel okay, we have picked up, right? But then you miss out on this fact that the sector has picked up higher. Okay, the sector say started from the same place, but now it has ended up higher and you have ended up lower. So Meri Billi Meow Meow is not the correct approach. You have to compare your company's performance with the sectoral performance. Okay. Then another approach is that of uh, comparing your performance with the benchmark company. And this is where the uh, this is uh, where the limitations arise. Okay. Now what are the limitations, right? So the first limitation is that of scale. So I am here on this topic, limitations of ratio analysis. Okay. Now what are the limitations? So the first limitation is that of scale. Scale, okay, scale. So uh, you cannot compare this scale company with this scale company. You need to keep the scale in mind. Now this is a 100 crore company and this is a 1200 crore plus company. So how can you compare this small company with this company? So the comparison has to be of similar level companies. Okay. So a 100 crore company has to be compared with say 80 to 200 crore company. This is the first thing. Okay. If the benchmark company is of this level, right, then it is like comparing oranges with apples. Okay. So they have their own environment, they have their own setting. Okay. So this is what I mean by limitations of ratio analysis. The first limitation is you need to look at the scale. Okay. So the comparison has to be between a level playing field company. Just because a benchmark company is in the same sector, it does not mean that it can be compared. Okay. So a tiny company being compared with a this is not logical, right? Just because they are in the same sector. Even in one sector, there are thousands and thousands of product lines, right? Where they can differ. So and the scale matters because their entire markets are different. They are working in so a 100 crore company clocks and ROTA an ROTA of say 18%. Okay, and at the same time this company clocks an ROTA of say 13%. It does not mean that this is better. No, in no way this is better, because the scale. So scale, they have got a this is also known as the base effect, right? On a higher base of a 13% ROTA on a higher base is much better than an 18% ROTA on a smaller base. Okay, this is what has to be kept in mind before looking at a benchmark company. Then second thing, uh, so we have what I have written over here. Actual comparison should be between similar products plus. So this is a plus sign. Okay, here I have said plus sign. Similar scale. Okay. So of course, when you are looking at a benchmark company from the same sector, so you are of course saying similar products, but here also there is a big question mark. Okay, as I said, then plus similar scale, as I said, 100 crore with a 80 to 100 crore company, and then around the same time stage. Okay, or you can say the life cycle, right? So here comes the life cycle of a company. So you are comparing a 100 crore company which is in this stage with a 120 crore company which is in this stage. Okay, so this is an older company, more assets, more learning. Now now the comparison is between old company and a new company. Okay, old and a new company. So this is what I mean by around the same time frame, right? You have to compare a new company with another new company. So this company has to be compared not with this company. This is what I mean by time frame. Okay, because these ratios, say cost of goods sold to sales ratios, they improve due to the learning curve. So there is an inherent learning. Okay, so this is how you have to look at the ratio analysis figures, and you have to have a broad time horizon, not like the stock exchange mentality, morning profit, evening losses. Companies, they don't make profits in the morning and they make losses in the evening. This is rubbish. Okay, at the most you can say the P&L statement or the profit and loss is 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 reflected in its quarterly statements. So a 3 months period, okay, is what we can say that the company can show some what you can say uh, uh, some kind of a performance. Okay, but even then it has to be a comparison of the same company over the same quarter in the previous years. So there are quarterly, because Indian companies, they still haven't come out of and they will not be able to come out of this seasonal pattern of sales, because we are primarily an agricultural based economy. And if our agriculture sector goes up, as I have explained in a few of my other videos, so so our companies, our services sector, our manufacturing sector, all they are related to our agricultural sector. So we still have a seasonal pattern in most of the product areas and service areas, right? And our economy is also tied up with festivals. During festival period, the customers, Indian customers specifically, They they are kind of, they try to spend. Okay, the only exception was this Eid. We are in the lockdown period, and there was no buying spree during this Eid, and everyone was huddled inside. And hope we pray that this lockdown gets over fast. So anyway, this is what I meant by this session. Hope it has made some sense and value addition to the students of management studies in general, and specifically to those students who would like to take up finance, maybe as a career. So this kind of input is very much necessary. But I would say this much of financial management has to be understood by everyone, not by only a few people. This is a very simple kind of a very simple kind of uh, treatment. So hope everything has been understood. If you don't understand anything, you can ask. You can feedback me. You can give me a feedback through your email.